Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with,
Tank.
and we're here on the front lines.
What lines?
Okay, still need work. how's it going, Tank?
Oh, you know what? Pretty good. Pretty good. Had a pretty busy weekend, and we've got a little confusion. Not sure exactly what to bring them through, but I know the tables reached back out to Kim to get some information. So let's hope they break through. I know there were some secret meetings in different parts of the world over the weekend. So I believe that Kim was waiting on those meetings to resolve, and those hopefully will yield results that allow us to actually bring money in.
Yeah. Yeah, we're ready to move forward, definitely, on our fronts.
I think that Alexandria Cortez is one of the signs of the apocalypse. She
Which horseman is she?
I'm not sure, but she said that straight white men should become gay, right? And then there was an actual protest up in Boston, I believe, or down in Boston, that it was like a straight pride march, which by itself, to be honest, I find to be funny, right?
Yeah.
But it ended up being like a bunch of white racists or whatever, but what's funny is at the same, there's like 20 people marching, then like 200 people showed up to protest, and and they were handing out flyers that said that straight sex is rape. That's where we are. So if you don't know where we are on their side, they've completely lost their mind. They're no longer in the slow rollout of their plan. They're in the, holy crap, what do we do?
Right.
Like, let's tell them straight sex is rape. So, I don't know. I just find that very funny.
Right. That definitely is amusing, but it's also very sad. Where these people are in their consciousness is really disturbing. That they really are so far out of balance with nature. Right? They all support nature, right? And that's their ideas behind things, right?
Right.
But
well, yeah, it's crazy. Ilhan Omar is promoting the same thing they tried to, Nancy Pelosi tried to slip into the bill when the Democrats, pretended that they were going to cooperate, right? So when they were pretending to cooperate with the wall and actually focusing on border security, they tried to slip in there that we would turn over our regulation of the border for America over to the United Nations.
Right.
So basically, if you turn your border over to the United Nations, essentially what you're saying is like, look, we give up. we submit to the global Holocaust that you're trying to end. We'll let you regulate our borders because how ridiculous is that?
Right.
It's like I think the very nature of having a nation is that you can at very least regulate your borders. So,
right.
I find all that to be very, tragically amusing. I guess like dark comedy, like Fight Club.
Right. Yeah.
So.
This is a. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little distracted because I'm in the middle of this issues going back and forth on the Kringle Society. So I have my channel open, and there was just some people sending me messages. Sorry, I was a little distracted there.
Okay.
But there's anything, it's. I'm sorry. Just go ahead because I'm I'm a little lost at where we're at right now. So many things going on.
So they came out with, in the Comey files, they uncovered very clearly that Barack Obama was definitely directly involved in an attack on President Trump as the candidate Trump, as the president-elect Trump, as President Trump, right?
Right.
So he's been all up in the mix the whole time, which, I think should be pretty disturbing to anybody. When you have a former president attacking a sitting president, and really as a citizen, or citizen, I don't know if that's very term anymore, but as an American, right, just regular person, attacking. So, there's a lot of things building up here.
Well, there's this unwritten rule, right, that the former presidents don't criticize current presidents. Right, and that's so if they're breaking that, it's you can see that rule was probably also in place because that they had they cut off, let's say from the public's perspective, another avenue to gain access to a level of contacting that level of government. Because if you have no way to, like say, voice to a former president, right? Then you have no. That's just one thing that's cut off, right? They channel all the information where the way they want it to flow, right? So they can blockade it. You can't go.
Right, sure.
You can't go through the bureaucracies of the government. You can't go to your representative in a way that actually means anything, because even if they receive it, all they're doing is then still doing what they've been instructed to do, right? Because they're now in their blackmail chains, the chains of blackmail, right? So that
right.
So it's just so anyway, this unwritten rule was there for their benefit, but now they're coming out because it's I wouldn't be surprised if all the former presidents that were alive, or even some dead ones, might come up and start saying things.
Yeah, I think you're witnessing really what I think Trump is doing, and the whole team there, a masterful job of using their weapons against them, which I think is great.
Right.
Because, you got to do something. Right. It can't continue on this way. Now, it's I know they were putting this in the chat to help me the other day, but we both missed it. I believe it's Timothy Holmesmith, or something like that, Holmesmith, who had a case, and he's basically like a whistleblower, right? And so now this is I can't emphasize this enough. This is a profound thing for President Trump and Melania to call him and say, "Look, don't go into that court because it's a clown court. Right? It has no power." Well, that's the regular court.
Right. Right. Well, it has no power except what people perceive as their power. Right. And so more people that perceive that they have no power and that it's just like a court of McDonald's, Burger King. Wendy's.
Right.
That's
exactly what it is. That's exactly what you just said is perfect. It's like the court of, well, if you're going to sign over your rights and let me be, your owner, it's a slave court, and it has no real power. It has nothing to do with the republic or the real government.
Right.
And we were just kind of going through some stuff.
I mean, I like to use fast food restaurants because it puts it in real perspective, because it's just a corporation that's doing a function. So like fast food, pumps out, fast food, and you go in and you stand in line and you go and you pay your bill, right? And you receive.
No, that's a great point, right?
Yeah. So, but if you say it's like, oh, it's a maritime court, right? That means it doesn't connect, right? It's a commercial court. It doesn't connect, right? So when you put it, so you say this is no different than a fast food restaurant, just ruling on what fines you have to pay.
Well, I mean, because you realize they can just, if nobody's following rules, right? Why the hell should you? And and I realize this too. It's like, well, in reality, I'm going to get labeled a radical for this, which that would be accurate, because I am definitely a radical by compared to the radically indifferent, which I didn't even know you could be radically indifferent. But that's basically the stance that most of the liberal community has taken, right? Like, except for Antifa, which is obviously not liberal at all. They're very much, pro-fascism and pro-Nazism, and they're just covering it, pretending that they're anti-fascist, right?
Right.
But which I find to be hilarious. I'm like, I've never seen a less obvious group ever. It's like we're all going to get dressed up like ghouls and bully random people. But yeah, so you got all these things going on. It's like, but what will seem radical is really the truth. Is that if there's no laws that are respected, right? Mm-hmm. Then and you have your current sitting corporation, which is still occupying space illegally, I might add, because they no longer have control, ownership, or authority over the space. Their contracts expired in March of 2014, when the contracts with the Federal Reserve and everything to do with the U.S. corporation and the USA Treasury, right, or the U.S. Treasury, one and the same, they have all expired. So that means they are currently operating beyond their contract under contract assumptions, right? The assumption of renewal. But we have not renewed the contract, nor will we, right? Meanwhile, President Trump is sitting on the actual document that gives sovereignty back to the republic, and we, for the first time in our lifetime anyway, we actually have the ability to have a land, to actually claim that we are the land of free.
Well, I wonder if that's I still think that when Trump was last in England and he met with the Queen, there is all that pomp and circumstance, which was not the case when Obama went there. Interesting enough,
right?
That there was an agreement that was signed between them, but they didn't say what it was. The camera's looking and focused on it, but they really weren't talking about what's being signed. I thought that was very unusual. I said, why would they not say anything? And
they signed something. Long pause.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I think the way I saw it is that Trump made this tour. He went to Japan first, met with the emperor, right? Met with the prime minister Abe, and then or the new emperor, and then and Abe, and then went to England, and then signed something. And he has sovereignty, right? But at the same time, he also had all of these positions put in, all his ducks in a row. The D class given to AG Barr, so that he can declassify documents. These documents will put Britain in a very bad position. You know, showing that Britain was trying to control the election. Britain was trying to get Trump out of office. Well, see, you're shopping there.
Yeah, I had to come get something for my kids.
Yeah.
So school starts on Tuesday. Go ahead, man.
It's okay. Yeah. That's but yeah, I think with all of this setup, right? And possibly because he also has the sovereignty document from Kim. Says there, you have no say over us, right? But we have to now move forward. This evidence will come out in declassification. So what does that look like, right? What is the world the next day? So what agreement do they come up with, that the Queen would sign?
Right.
Good
question.
There's no more debt. The debt that was owed under the Virginia Company from the 1600s. For all the land. The release of any liens. Who knows what that document was? And they could have said, a title of the document, but it would have been something that would not be what's in the contents. Well, can we read that document? What did they sign?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. You was thinking about it as we're talking about it. It's like, the actual Federal Reserve and the Treasury, they were set up to act as an intercessor between the unknown country and the government, right? And that's the reality. And every international treaty, it was not between all the countries per se. They were all made with the unknown country, right? Now, my feeling on this is it's the UN known country, right, is what I think was set up there. Because they were clever. Those guys were clever. But I just, I think the whole point was, they set this up to create the illusion they were going to be able to bring in this, one world government. But the guys who were really at the top, had no intention. It was just a game, different ways to mess with, the peasants, of which the top of that for them was the peasants who were the most obedient, right? Because that's always, the goal is how do we get them to be as obedient as possible? How do we get them just to do what we say? Because that's all they really want, right? And I'm telling you, if anybody hasn't watched iZombie lays out the whole plan for people, right? Because even now, after they barricade the city in, right, with the big walls, everybody's secluded, right? They're all there, and you have this big portion of the city that's a zombie. You have this other group of zombies, the guys who actually created zombies, and they're taking them, and they took their own kind of zombies, and they made it so they will just follow orders.
Right. Yeah.
Follow orders. It's like, that is such a telling point, right?
Right.
To just have the zombies be literally a force of dead, soldiers that are just hunting other people down.
For food.
Right. And it's like so everybody just kills each other off, and then you've got, your elite group left over.
Because they eliminate other sources of food, our mechanisms for delivery of food, or manufacturing food, all of this under attack because the systems are all set up to run with currency, right? So you shut off the currency, it stops, then things do not move. So you don't have a medium of exchange, to substitute, right?
Right.
So
basically, if you zombify the entire population, you create this whole, androgynous race of indifferent people, of, people that just they don't care, right? Nobody cares about anything. They're like, we don't need borders. The Constitution, that's they try to take Susan B. Anthony's flag, and and say, "Oh, that's racist." Like, no, these people, you know, these people fought for our freedom, Jack. Jack. Like, come on. Like, what do you? Give me a break. And half the Congress flies the rainbow gay pride flag outside their office, right?
Right.
Like, wait a minute, you know. if I remember somebody, one of these groups break this down years ago, seeing how if everyone was gay, no one could reproduce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now look what they're doing, right? They're promoting if you are not like, if you don't have a gay best friend, go to regularly attend a gay bar and encourage your child to have a sex change by the time they're 12, then you are a racist. And not only that, but if you have heterosexual sex, you are now a rapist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. But pedophilia is a perfectly natural sexual desire, and that we're going to teach in pre-K. I mean, holy cow. That by itself is like, that's like the worst nightmare. How is that real,
All right. Well, that's the whole point. The apparatus of education is not for our benefit, right? It's pitched that way, right? But it's basically to train the animals to do what the masters want.
Well, I realize education is probably the most powerful form of mass media, actually, right?
Right.
Because it's constantly, right? Like, we all believe this. We all believe, okay, I have to do these things, right? Like, I went to a high school where everybody graduated, first of all, right? And everybody, I think it was 99% of the class went to college. Everybody. But then, so that basically means that, like, we were a group of well-trained, obedient, an obedient town. So we would all just do what we were told. And we go right into a programming system. So.
Yeah, well, it's another one of the front lines that we need to take on. We're looking at this across, from the movies, Hollywood, that's education, right? They do it through mind control, subliminal messages, themes, nudges into the direction they want everyone to go over time. And this is not like, walk into a movie theater, get reprogrammed and walk out. No, this is, generational, transformation, to, things that were looked at as normal become completely unnormal, to the people in society. But that new normal leads to death. It does not
leads to death.
Extinction.
Just death.
Extinction. It's overall, it's our extinction. Even from what is known as being human, to the point where oh, you don't want to be human. No, you want to be transhuman. You don't want to be one of those lower class, right? You can't. Oh, you can't afford. If you can't afford to be in the transhuman class, you're dirty. You're the untouchable. You don't deserve food or clothing or shelter. You don't deserve happiness. In fact, you should just go into the sewers and do some cleanup work for us.
Crazy. It's like in the Divergent series. If you weren't part of one of the factions, right?
Right.
You're nothing.
The military.
It's like, that's where we live now, right?
Right.
Like, it's just different factions.
Yeah, it's the training, right? This is where you are, through these movies. It tells us how we're to act, what we're supposed to do, how things are supposed, how you're supposed to move up, right? What if you follow this line? Then it's the Yeah, you could say the American dream path, right? You go down this line, get a home. Of course, you can't really own it, but you think you do, right?
So
So
really funny. I gotta tell you. So you'll notice, right, that whenever I'm on a call, sirens come screaming by, right? And I thought, I'm paranoid, right? That this happens just when I'm on the call, right? So for the past 2 days, I took very careful observation, right? And I waited for hours, 2 days straight, waiting to see if any sirens came by me, right, at all. so here's what I discovered. Within 8 minutes of me starting a phone call, there will be a siren that will come by me on Foxers, Oceanside, or Long Beach, the 3 streets that surround my house, right? Mm-hmm. Every single time. But if I don't get on the call, they will not come by. Not one siren. So I realized, I'm like, oh, you're using siren because you're trying to disrupt my frequency, right? Mm-hmm. So that, like, I get frustrated and put that out there. So, Kamal, I just want to tell you guys, that was masterful. I appreciate your skill. And I now love sirens. So thank you. Because now that I know that you're doing that, it brings me joy.
Oh, but now they're going to stop. They'll stop now. Darn, we appreciate the sirens so much.
They're sitting around right now trying to come up with another plan. Darn it! It didn't work. How do we get these guys? Jeez. It's like, come on. Like, how is this where we live, I mean, what do you care what I do, right? I should be nothing to you guys. You guys are so important. You've got bloodline. I'm some mudblood, nobody. You guys are all so important. You're so important you can kill people and eat babies and, so important. Well,
yeah, so important. But yeah. Yeah, so I can imagine they're at their control panel looking over. Oh, what are they talking about now? Oh no, they've discovered it. What are we going to do? What's next in the list? Well, we've done all those things. What do we do now? And they run out of options on what they can do. They don't have a push button to activate. Activate siren. Okay. Interrupt the Wi-Fi in the general area. Okay. Our next step. Oh my goodness! Now they have to use a magnetic pulse weapon, right? Wipe out all the electronics.
Like I used to have drones around me all the time, and just yesterday I had 2 drones here just floating around, watching, right? I mean, I'm sure, it's like, I just feel like
I had a really good idea for drones. Get this, all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you get a small drone that's built for speed, right? Has some carrying capacity, but all it's really got to do is carry a hook, and you basically you could be a magnet, right? But you attach it to a fishing line. And then you go up and get the drones that are going after you, right? And you capture them.
Yeah.
Just reel them on in. Hey, I got a drone. Oh, it's a feisty one. Reel them on in.
I figure, most drones. I mean, you can actually track every drone that's live. I have a guy who tracks it for me all the time, and But I figured, no, man. The guys listen to the calls and these drones in the air. Like, I'm not against them. As a matter of fact, I'm glad they're listening. I'm putting on a leadership clinic here. Like, I'm trying to teach them how to do it. So, I don't mind. Like, please keep watching. Observe carefully. Pay attention. Because you guys need help. They need help desperately. So,
right.
I'm about helping humanity, even if that means, the agents who are in the unfortunate position of observing. Because it's got to be frustrating, because they don't know what's going on. And, and actually, I'm certain they label us, with certain things in the system here. Because I've had, I get harassed, I don't think they're allowed to harass me because I actually know my rights. So because of that, they probably know, like, don't do anything, because if you do something, it's going to go public, right? Like, he's going to make a big deal about it. So I would imagine, but I know they follow me, right? Like right now, there's a cop, positioned across the street from my house at all times.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a police officer. There's nothing here. This is a crime-free zone. The only crime that has been committed in this town in the past year was this homeless guy who broke into somebody's garage to, when it was cold. So it's like, there's no crime. There's no need to have, 30 cop cars and all stuff here. So,
yeah.
I just find it to be funny at this point. I think the whole thing. So,
Yeah, well, it's good to have a sense of humor about it. These people that are watching, it's the they we're watching out for, the ones that are really the. Remember the movie? Is it they? Where you have to put on the special glasses to see them, and they're kind of looking Skeletor-looking type aliens, right? So, but Serial Brain 2 had pointed out and started naming these different types of alien breeds, right? And he pointed out one that came out, and remember said that Trump is using these signs to say that it's Heil Hitler because it was on the 8th of August, right? 8/8, and that means HH, which means Heil Hitler. This is a subliminal. Now, he was pointing out that the guy that was speaking about this, I forgot his name, but he kept blinking like while talking, and he was pointing out that rapid blinking is a sign of reptilian, DNA, and that is a hybrid. So now I'm watching out for this, and now this reporter that came out on Rachel Maddow's show and basically said, well, I only had one source on this. Just want to say it's one source. So if this is true, Trump got loans that were co-signed by Russian oligarchs, right? And now they immediately retracted it the next day, right? But this guy, I was watching his eyes. He was blinking like that, right? That rapid blinking, and his eyes are dark. So dark blinking eyes, may be a sign to, where this is like one of the filters been removed, so we don't need the glasses to see who they are. We're now being able to determine who they are. Who are these hybrids? Rapid eye blinking with dark eyes, and occasionally their tongue happens to go out and go.
Well, I'm laughing at all these little things that are going on. Like the mainstream media has got to be coming up to a certain level of awareness, right? Because all the trust that back, the NBC and ABC, CBS, they're all the trust, or they're empty,
Right.
So, they're scraping life together right now. And this guy, Don Lemon, I think it's Don Lemon from CNN, who is now, being very openly accused of sexual harassment. He's definitely guilty. And he was so aggressively just ignorant in the statements he made about President Trump, right? Everything he said was racist while accusing President Trump of being racist. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, I'm so happy to see them I just want them to plaster him everywhere and be like, because all these guys, all these people who just, like the whole View, the whole group at the View. Oh my gosh, please, just track them a little deeper. I guarantee you'll find it won't be hard to find things on them, right? And as they spout their ignorance to every, liberal mom at home who's just like, they don't ever back anything up. They never explain what they're saying. They never provide any evidence, right? They still refer back to this one thing that President Trump said, with some guys, they recorded about grabbing a woman's, privates, which, by the way, I don't condone that. That's not cool. Does that mean that the man couldn't change? He's not different? Of course not. You're still referring back to that after 3 years of the greatest presidency in history? It's just so funny. It's like, why don't you like him? Because he keeps getting things done, right? Because all he does is win. I mean, it's like why do you hate this president so much? Because all he does is help the people. Because he's completely disrupted the genocidal agenda where you thought you were the 10% that were going to survive, and you weren't going to survive. You weren't going to survive. You were going to be, made into sludge like the rest of us. So, I'm looking for. I would actually rather see the mainstream media completely, kind of publicly pantsed, and revealed than even the pedophiles. We can all kind of easily, like the pedophiles are tragic, and it's a hard thing to deal with.
Lost you there for a moment, Tank. You're faded out.
I just don't think those things need to be brought out in public as much because they're going to be really gory,
right.
And they will bring the collective consciousness down to a very negative vibration, a very hurtful vibration because it's painful,
right?
As it should be, by the way. But I think enough of it needs to be brought out to get people to wake up and say, "Wait a minute, what about my kid?
Right.
What's going to happen here?" Because these horror stories, if you keep repeating them enough, it'll just become normal.
Right.
Right. And the only thing lower than this sad pedophile vibration, worse than that, is indifference.
Right. Well, but the other side of this is, we all recognize as adults, that there are bad things, and that if we ignore them or put them in the dark and we don't talk about them, then this gives them power to go ahead and work from the shadows. So I do believe that we need to protect our children from this information until they are adults, and I would say more like the age of 24, not 21, but or even 30, to really have a fuller understanding of what it is that we're dealing with.
See, but Dad, that's the kind of crazy nonsense that people say. That's why people think we're nuts. Look, we don't need to change the laws that are in place because if we do, it'll go. We just need to enforce the laws.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm just talking about what we bring out to talk about. On this is that we can't hide from the goriness of what this has happened to us. We literally have to understand that it's there. Maybe you don't need to see more than 30 seconds of what it actually is. Maybe you don't need to hear more than 30 seconds to know how bad it is. But the people that do end up taking upon themselves to absorb that negativity so that they can express it to the rest of our us so the understanding, we also need to protect the children and really not allow it just to be shoved under the rug, because that's in that darkness is where it festers and where it comes out again. And like, who could have even imagined even 5 years ago, if you go back that far when Obama is there and thought about things, or even go back more to the conversation before Epstein came out, and you just go back 10 years ago. Was there any kind of conversations about where all these pedophiles were everywhere in the whole government? That they're so spread out, it's almost like a rite of passage to be in the upper levels of government across the world. Who could even absorb that at that time? So if it's because we can't even fathom that, is that they proceeded to continue to do it. So this reveal that has happened over the last, really only over the last 2 years, it was very slow to start off. But when Trump took office, 3,600 pedophiles were arrested within 3 months.
Yeah.
So that was like a wake up for so many, right? To the point where those people back then now can understand that this is a worldwide phenomenon. Talking about human trafficking is now like normal to have that conversation everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so this is something we can't ignore. It has to be gone through, and it's part of of moving through that karma, because us being asleep is the effect of our having let it go this far, right? Is the karma we have to deal with as a society.
Right. No, and I do, I think that is very accurate. Is 5 years ago. I mean, I can like sometimes I see these tweets. I'm like, are you like where have you been? They're like, like I saw this tweet and I can just hear the guy's voice in my head. He was like, this Epstein thing makes me think there might be some validity to this Pizzagate. I'm like, oh yeah, really? What about the screaming, awful, horrible things going on inside this pizza place? The fact that they have a kill room in the basement, or that they have recordings of was it Podesta just brutalizing a child, clearly. That you have bands that come in and that are literally they're solely dedicated to pedophilia and murder and this whole satanic agenda, which is obvious. It's obvious that's what it is, right? It's not like, oh, tomorrow night we're gonna have a Bruce Springsteen cover band, and then we're having Satan's puppets come in the next night. That doesn't happen.
I heard that they demolished the building where that pizza restaurant was.
That's a convenient.
Yeah,
Very convenient.
So build something new in its place. Wipe it out of existence. Cover their tracks.
I mean, first go in and have some, Indian spiritualists, like Native American spiritualists, like bless it and clear the awful bad karma from the place, and then maybe build something. Like, see, but yeah, but you're right. That's what they do.
Right.
We got this. There was like some serious, military decode going on, right, for some, for some planned attacks, by the cabal
Right.
that were coming through. There'd be, like a bunch of decoders were sending me some things, right?
Right.
And like they were asking me about certain things, and I was checking them out. And they sent me this like really interesting sculpture piece that I'd never seen before. So I actually started paying attention, and it was actually part of the symbolism was from the Giga Codex, which is like the Devil's Bible.
Mm-hmm.
This massive document. It's a massive book that's like 5 feet long by 3 feet wide. And
Oh, you mean literally, physically huge in size?
Well, it's huge inside, but it's also referred to as Devil's Bible. It's got it's different crazy written stuff inside. But this image, it was like looked like the Tree of Life, and then there was a book, and in the upper left hand corner there was a symbol of the tabernacle pattern, which is actually the symbol that symbolizes human beings, actually, right? Like the tabernacle of man, and it looked kind of like a Bible. And then there was 2 cranes, or I thought they were cranes, and then there was like this whole pattern in the middle. And Kim said, "Oh, that looks like a this portal at the Arc-Am in Russia, right?" So I pulled it up, and it's exactly what it was. It was a portal. It was like pretty amazing, actually, right? In the sculpture. And then there was like all the way at the bottom, there's like little engraving of this person, like like taking this baby and like handing it over to this dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized the decode on it, right? So you have a portal that goes to like these gates of heaven/hell, described in the Giga Codex, right? And the cranes were actually storks, and storks were actually known for stealing babies, not for delivering them, right? At least not to the parents, like stealing them from the parents, delivering them to the devil, apparently.
Ah.
And this whole thing was like a portal, like this. Yeah, I kind of show it to you. Yeah, there it is. This is some pretty cool stuff, actually. All right, here, I'll show you this. Where's my thing? Oh, there it is. So, see that?
Yeah, I see it.
So this at the top here is like supposed to be, I guess that's what appears in the Gig Codex. And then the book here, that you see, if you look all the way on my screen on the left, that triangle or that rectangle within a rectangle is actually a tabernacle pattern. And then all this stuff in the middle here is like this this portal. And the two storks, right? So I guess, and then down at the bottom, you can't really see it as well. I guess I could try to zoom in, right? If you look down here at the bottom, it's like a man handing a baby to like this dragon. So pretty deep stuff, you know, deep stuff out there. I think this goes with I forget where it goes, but it's yeah, you kind of see it better there. There's codes. Yeah, it's kind of crazy stuff we were into today. There's the actual portal. I mean,
So,
there's a portal.
but what is this this image? What is this an image of? Where is it at?
It's in Archaeum. I don't know if it's Archaeum or Archaeum in Russia.
Oh, this is from Russia. Okay. And it's what do they say it is?
It's a portal. I mean, Kim told me it's a portal.
No, but what is? I mean, where you'd go to see this? What would people be going there to see? You know, what would this be? It's in a museum.
I have no idea. It's not in a museum. It's outside. What do you mean? It's huge.
Oh, I have no idea. I can't get perspective from what you're showing me here.
Oh yeah, this is outside. Yeah, like I'm sure I have other pictures, but I don't know if that helps.
Oh, I haven't seen. There's not a different. There's no different image yet. It's the same image.
No. But see, here's the tabernacle, right? Now, if you look at that corner, this is the tabernacle of man who was there. Like it's showing. It's like when you see when you see a rectangle inside a rectangle, it's referring to the tabernacle.
Okay.
Not sure what this is.
I see that book.
There's my
Oh, you're saying that this book, right? It's at the top of this is like 5 foot wide and 3 foot tall. I'm getting it now. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or 5 foot, yeah.
Yeah.
So it does look huge.
So, anyways, that's all that is. So, and stop share. There you go. So, yeah, man, lots of crazy stuff going on out there. Basically, what I got. So, you know, this whole group of military coders, they were all like, basically like, they're trying to summon the devil. I'm like, man, look, you're crazy if you don't think the devil's been here the whole time. Wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Anyways, man.
Yep.
That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
It's all right. We're good. It could be. We can reconvene tomorrow. That's fine. Just get back with me if you got any news for me. I'd appreciate that.
You got it, everybody. Have a great night. Yeah, you do the same, and I'll hit you up this weekend.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.